So a little bit about me. This is, my author brand, my little Labradoodle books. These are my grandkids. I've got one more that was missing from the photo. Right now, 8 books plus a Spanish, so 9, and also a couple more along the way. We put together this little mascot, this little Labradoodle mascot. We go visiting schools together, and I'm having a blast. I came from a corporate background and 35-year career, which kind of flatlined at a certain point where you're kind of as high as you're going to go or that you even want to go. And the IT field was one that you had to put a lot of hours in. So I'm used to 80-hour work weeks, covering things over the weekends, dealing with clients, bureaucracy, and trying to get things done. It's never easy with the corporate environment, at least not in my world. So there came a time when I just started feeling really just apathetic, didn't love my job anymore, and needed a passion project. That's about the same time that I was an empty nester. My 4 kids were grown and gone, and I didn't really have a lot to do. So I was looking for something that would excite me and get me out of bed in the morning and being happy, like to greet the day, because this was the first time in my life I didn't have that, whether it was with my kids, my family, or whether it was with my work, which I absolutely get such delight from. All of a sudden that was gone. So I got my little Labradoodles because I needed to be a mom. So I got my little Labradoodles. And then my kids started having kids. So I started with the grandbaby, and I fell in love with picture books all over again. I loved just cuddling, snuggling, reading with these kids, and turned a little passion project, legacy project. I started and got hooked, and I just loved the learning. I loved what I could do with it. And I got to the point where I was just wishing that I could figure an exit plan out of the corporate world so I could make this a career, because I enjoyed it so much. And, when you put things in God's hands, sometimes things happen. And I ended up getting laid off. There was a big corporate merger. And then they called a bunch of us in the office. And I was so excited when they said, your job is being eliminated, but don't worry, we have a severance package for you. And I had a year of severance, my full pay, to make this work. So I was doing cartwheels. I'll tell you, I was so excited. And that was 4 years ago. Now I've been doing courses, publishing my own books, publishing books for other people, and just teaching. I've really loved to teach. And there's nothing I love more than sitting across from somebody just like you when you're getting ready to click publish for the first time. That is probably my biggest thrill that I get. I just love working with authors. So I feel like I'm doing what I need to do. I've built a business around this, and I continue to work with authors to get you to the place where you need to be so that you can be self-sufficient. We'll talk a little bit about the problem, the process. We'll go through some questions. So does this look familiar to anybody? That was me when I first started. I didn't have a lot of information about what to do. I was searching online, had a lot of people with different opinions. There were lots of opinions, but they were different. And there were so many rabbit holes to go down to try to find information about self-publishing. And even the experts disagreed about how to do it. Well, because I have a analyst background, and I've been a consultant for 35 years. So I know how to delve in and learn something new and make it better. That was my specialty in my career, was transforming things that were broken into something that's easy, follows a system, teaching people how to use it, and making things better. So I was like, hey, I can do something with this, and break some of the confusion, the lost time and money and missteps. But what I found as I was going through all these things myself and figuring things out, putting my own plan in place and my I wanted a repeatable process. You could probably see my imaginary propeller hat spinning, because these kinds of technical things, infrastructure, system things, I'm very comfortable with. But for a lot of other people that were my author friends and people that were in the same children's book niche as me, they were just panicking. What do I do next? I have no idea. Oh my gosh, this mistake happened, or I've got this error. How do I correct it? And I saw all of these people struggling. And I love pulling these kinds of courses together, people together, and collaborating. So that was just a natural movement for me. I started with just a work group for individuals who were just all publishing their book at the same time. I think we're up to around 1,200 now that have gone through the program. One of the things we do in this course is we go through and talk about your goals. What are your strategies? What are your goals? What are you hoping to get out of this? If my author is a really busy person who doesn't have a lot of extra time, but they've written the book and they want to go through and they have minimal time to spend, there's going to be a different goal and strategy than somebody who wants to make this a career and whose last child is in full-time school and they've just freed up and want to just throw themselves into this as a career, right? There's different goals, and we go through that as part of the process. We also look at the budget. I've got budget templates we'll go through. We talk about marketing and putting a marketing plan together. And we're going to talk about getting to really know your perfect reader. Because if you don't know them, if you don't know what they need, what their pain points are, then and where they hang out, how to reach them, you're not going to be able to market to them. So putting together a book and just throwing it out there without having this analysis and walking through all these steps is going to put you at a disadvantage. We also have some planning that we do. The resource plan is, who's going to help you, who are the people that are going to be there to help you, because just because they call it self-publishing doesn't mean you do it yourself. There are people that are going to help you. There are editors, there are illustrators, people that will design and format your book, marketing help, mentors, right? So we talk about what it is you need, who you're going to bring in. If you need to fund the book, there's crowdfunding is an option. So we kind of go over where the funds are going to come from. And you'll know by going through these lessons what the financials are going to be, because we'll step through every aspect of the budgeting spreadsheet. We also do book launch planning, and we talk about the marketing plan. And so planning is not something that's linear. You go from here on, right? You kind of visit these things, the goals up front. You're going to plan at the beginning. You're going to do some stuff, come back over here and go, okay, now it's time to launch. We better do some more planning around launch. The marketing plan is being added to. It started up here. You add it down here. Oh, now what am I going to do for communications? What kind of things do I need to create? So there's some planning items that we have here that we cover. Most people think that this is really the crux of what you're doing with self-publishing: writing the story, editing, illustrations, design, formatting, prepare for launch, and then launch. That's where most people think that you focus, but you miss a lot of things if you don't do it, if you don't tackle the right things in the right order. And then at the end, when the story's written, some people will just make marketing happen. Like, okay, now I pressed publish. What should I do for marketing? No. We're going to talk about marketing right from the beginning. And then every week you'll have at least one marketing activity that we're going to talk about, we're going to dig into, and we're going to continue to revise that marketing plan so that we know exactly how the launch is going to go, what kind of marketing things need to get done between the beginning of the class all the way to the end of the class. And then at the end, you're running ads, you're executing on your marketing plan. Maybe you're going to events and you're monitoring, you're analyzing, and you're adjusting so that you can continue to make shifts and changes continue with your marketing plan and maybe even try different things. But this gives you kind of an area to say, like, these are all the things we're going to talk about and walk through in the 12-week course. With self-publishing, you're not having to worry about an agent or querying or collecting a shoebox full of rejection letters. With traditional, you're going through an agent and a publisher. Sometimes you have to query the agent, get the agent first, then they have to submit everything for you. So there's a lot of things here that is just very different. With self-publishing, you have to pay for your editing, your illustrations, your design. With a traditional publisher, they pay. So if you get contacted by a publisher that says, we would like to publish your book, we love it, that gets an author's heart beating really fast. I can't believe it. They want to publish my book. And then if they come back and tell you that you owe them money to do it, that's not traditional publishing. It's usually a hybrid or it's a vanity press. And they dangle, offers out there. Some of them are decent. Some of them are, they have their place in the world for people that don't want to do things by themselves or don't want to learn, and they just want somebody else to do it. But they are very expensive, and just be careful when you get involved or people start talking to you about publishing your book if they say you have to give them money, because it can be very complex to unravel those publishing contracts. Through this program, you're going to publish your book. You are going to buy the ISBNs. They're going to be under your name. You are going to be the publisher. Nobody else is going to get any royalties. That's going to be all yours. Where in a traditional situation, they may advance you, a few $100s, $1,000 that I've seen, once or twice. But then they're taking a piece of the action and giving you like 10%, 15% of the royalties. And especially with hybrid publishers where you've had to pay for them to do this all for you, now you're getting a very small piece of the pie. You've paid almost everything yourself. It can just be really odd. And the business just doesn't make sense. So just be wary. Go to, if you're researching any kind of publisher, you can go to the Alliance of Independent Authors, and they are a watchdog agency. If you search on their site for the publisher you're looking for, they will warn authors which ones have complaints and which ones to stay away from. Or if you get to any kind of a Facebook group where there's authors gathered together, you can post it out there and ask for feedback. Does anybody work with these guys? What do you think? And you can get a little bit of information about them, and just be wary. That's all. I don't want to see you get taken advantage of. That breaks my heart. So publisher pays. You're in control with self-publishing. I will tell you that I never even considered traditional publishing, for the reason that I am a bit of a control freak. I've been rolling out systems. I've been doing things myself, multi-million-dollar projects for 35 years. I did not want anybody else telling me which story is worth publishing, who's going to edit it, who's going to illustrate it, what my cover is going to look like. I wanted to be the one making those calls. So that is very true as a self-published author. With traditional, you give them the manuscript, you shop that manuscript, or your agent does, and then they are going to accept you, give you the contract, but then typically, most of the time, they're going to make all the decisions and you don't really have much to say about it. So I didn't like that part. I did like the fact that they do pay, but I giving up control just wasn't there for me. You build your own team with self-publishing. And by the way, it's going to be very much easier to do that with my recommendations and pre-vetted resources for you. With a publisher, usually they have their own resources on staff, or they contract with other people to do the work. And you don't usually have access to those people. They kind of put them behind a firewall, and you deal with somebody at the publisher goes and, takes care or manages the relationship with the illustrator or editors, formatters, things like that. With self-publishing, you're marketing things yourself. So if marketing isn't your forte, or you're an introvert like I am, then you're going to have to push yourself outside your comfort zone. You can pay others to do the work for you, but if you're paying a marketing agency or a publicity agency, you could be forking out $1,000 to $2,500 a month, and they want 3 months worth of money. Now, a publisher, they have a publicity team, they have marketing team, they will do marketing, but they'll do it for the kickoff of the book, and then they're on to the next one. So for the first month or so, you're okay with the publisher. They'll get you some tours and some publicity, but then after that, they drop it, and you're the only one behind there really doing a lot of publicity for the book. Either way, you're going to have to know how to do publicity and get comfortable with marketing if you're going to get good sales. So that's why we do a little bit of learning and practicing all through the course with marketing activities. And I give you templates and things to utilize as samples so that you can create the things that you need for your marketing. With self-publishing, you're going to keep all the royalties. With a traditional publisher, they will give you an advance. Maybe it's a few $100 or $500, and then they'll take the royalties out until it tallies what they gave you as an advance. And then you'll say, okay, so you've made enough sales that you've met your advance, which we gave you 500. Now you'll start getting 10%, 15%, whatever it is. I think 20% is actually pretty high for a traditional publisher to give you. So I much rather do the work and get it right and keep the royalties for myself. So that's what we're doing. That's what we as a self-published author try to do. The other thing I love about self-publishing is that it's much quicker to market. If I want to, I think my record is 4 weeks from somebody coming to me saying that the manuscript is over, it's done, and turning it into a published book. And that was a picture book. So 4 weeks from beginning to end is, my record for a picture book. Much faster when people come to me with, middle grade or a novel that's already been edited, that thing can go out in just a few weeks, couple weeks sometimes. So with, when you're talking about a traditional publisher, it can take years between, even just from them signing the contract, all the work they do and all of the I think they have to go out 6 months, even from the time the book is over before they actually get it in front of the market and that it's out for sale. And sometimes they plan these topics that this topic's going to be our summer launch. So if you're just past summer, it might even be 2 years before your launch is actually out into the world. So no, it wouldn't be possible for somebody like Misty Black that I talked about, or Rachel, to have this many books in a matter of a couple of years. So yeah, they'd be lucky to have one at that point, maybe working on book 2. So there's a lot of differences here and a lot of things I talked about. I'm just going to take a pause, grab a little bit of water, and just ask if anybody has any questions so far. Has anybody considered traditional publishing?
I did have a question. So when you mentioned, of course, you keep the royalties when it's self-publishing, but what is the typical amount or percentage in terms of when you're doing it yourself?
Yeah, so it's not a one size fits all kind of answer, because what you make on a book that's print on demand, which is, you upload something to Amazon, and when somebody orders it, they print it and then ship it to them. So that's print on demand. That means you didn't do anything except upload the book. You didn't pay the printer, get advance copies, buy thousands of copies from China. It's just upload files and they're available for sale right away. So that piece of it, then the average revenue, let's just say, I'll give you an example of like 8.5 by 8.5, which I love. That's my favorite size for a picture book. That square size is available in paperback and on a hardback. So I would estimate probably $4, maybe $3 or $4 for a paperback is what you get for each book sold. And for the hardcover, it's probably more like $3. So it's a little bit less because it's more expensive to print. But some of the successful authors that even with their first book, I had Bree Turns, who wrote I Will Always Love You. It's a baby book, gift book for moms, adorable giraffes, looks beautiful. She was very successful with her first book out of the gate and ended up selling through Ingram Spark, which is the distribution channel that I recommend. We uploaded the same print-on-demand files to Amazon, and then the slightly different version for the formatting that needs to go into Ingram Spark. And she was selling a couple thousand books, anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000 books a month. So even if all she got was $2 a book, that was $4,000 a month she was making on her peak months, and even more around Christmas. And, 500 probably was the least I saw. So it would go up between 500 to 1,000, up to 2,000, and kind of follow a cyclical type of spike. And she got to the point where she thought, do I leave my work? But no, I love my work. So I'm just going to leave print on demand, just keep going. And it's going to fund other books, and it's going to be a nice passive income for when I'm ready to retire.
Thank you.
If you go the other route, which is possible, if you say, I want to drive the book down to the lowest possible dollar amount, say I want to pay $2.50 a book. Well, you can go to a China printer, and I have printer lists both in the US and in China. I'm using China as example because they do have the lower price per book when you order in huge volumes. So let's just say you say, I'm going to buy 3,500 or 5,000 copies of my book. They're going to get it down to $2.50. Now I'm going to give them the money to pre-print books. You didn't have to fork out with print on demand, right? The quality is going to be much better. And then these books are going to get shipped to you, and you're fulfilling them. You're fulfilling them on your website. You're fulfilling them maybe going to events, going to school visits, and you are actually selling them a book maybe you paid $2.50 for. You could be selling it for $15, $20. And the difference is yours to keep. So you have more profit doing that, but you also have more of cash to do the printing, and because you have to pay the printing up front, and you also have storage of books, and you need to fulfill them yourself or fulfill them with Amazon. So you see how print on demand is a great solution if you want to be more hands-off. If you're doing this bulk printing, if you want the most profit possible and you don't mind all of those other things, then that's how you're going to make the most per book. And that we talk about all of these different options, and we help you with selecting the right option for you, the right size book, and all of these things. And then there's probably a more hybrid thing in the middle. I do print on demand, and I might do a print run, what I call a short run of a few hundred books, so that I have some and I can go to book signings with, but I don't have to, have 15,000 in my garage.
Okay, thank you. That's a lot to think about. No, it's so helpful because I think I've been thinking from just the point of view of I just want to get my story written down. And I wasn't even thinking about
right.
So then when you think about all the components, you're like, whoa, that is a lot to think about.
There is a lot. And here, when I talk about these tips for success, you probably have never even crossed your mind, right? You need what we call the avatar. Those are a perfect reader for your book. If your book is about potty training your toddler, kind of see in our mind what that reader, that perfect person that's going to be buying that book, what kind of messaging do we need? What kind of a hook? What does a cover need to look like to really grab their attention? There's a lot of just the research that we'll do here and here, and just researching what other kind of potty books do they have out there? What are the most successful books? This is all research that I can show you and walk you through, and we can even do it together in our group sessions to pull the information together and get a really good idea of how popular is your title, how popular and how much in demand is this topic. Potty training, very in demand. Some obscure topic about basket weaving, probably not so much, right? But you've got to know what to expect, because if you're in a niche that's very small, then your marketing plan is probably going to be very different than the person who's in a niche like, helping children to learn how to potty train. Okay, so we do the research and we build a strong team. Just because you're self-publishing does not mean you do it yourself. We get really good people who've been there, done that, and are very well versed in your niche. And when I first started doing these workshops, people didn't know where to find them. I would tell them where to go to find a good illustrator, to find good editors, and they got stuck. So getting through the work group in 12 weeks was very difficult because they didn't know who to go to, who to trust. Some people were having all kinds of issues, and I had no influence to be able to change it. So I built a list and a huge network of people that I work with. You'll have a list of illustrators you can pick from. You'll have a list of editors, and these people are going to serve you really well. You'll have designers, and I'll be introducing them. They'll be able to talk to you. Do you have to use my people? No. I created this network because I use these people. So I take the guesswork out and I give you this list. You'll meet the people. We'll walk through every part of it together. And if you say, you know what, I didn't find anybody here on your list that I really liked, but this guy over here, I love his work, I want to use him, that's fine. We'll just use that person. So it's here if you need it, if you want it, and you need that strong team. I've got a fantastic team to work with, and they're used to working together. So since at the end of this course is the Christmas season, buying season, right? We're probably going to not want to take big risks with unknown resources. So coming up with like a neighbor who just started art school to illustrate your book is probably not going to get it done by Christmas, right? So you want to just keep that in mind as you are looking at your resources. And by the way, none of these resources are those that I charge you for. I give you the people, full transparency, make you introductions, and you can go right to them, build your relationship, work together. If you have an issue and you need me to step in, I have absolutely gotten on meetings with an author and an illustrator and worked things out because they know I have a big network. I send them a lot of business and they better take care of you or else they have to deal with me. So I am able to use some of my weight and my influence to make sure that things don't go south before Christmas. And that's what I want to do that for you with these resources that I do have some influence over. Another tip for success is develop your marketing savvy. And that just comes by trying things. If you are shy and you don't like to go on camera, maybe we'll ask you to do a Facebook Live or record a little video of yourself, post it in the Facebook group. It's only our private people together. And you can practice some things. You can learn about social media because I'll have speakers talking about that. We'll talk about websites. We'll talk about other things that become part of your marketing strategy. I will help you with the templates and you'll create your marketing plan with help with support from me and my team if you need it. And learn the basics. I love it. I love, love, love to learn. I'm a lifetime learner, and it excites me. It scares me, but that's okay, because that can be exciting too. And it will keep your mind sharp to learn things and to continue to learn and grow. And yes, you will. I always describe it as, you fill yourself up and you're reading and you're learning, and like all of a sudden it gets this high and things are like falling out your ears. Like, I can't take in any more of this knowledge. Like, you have to give yourself a chance to breathe and go back, and things, as the time goes on, things settle. Okay, I got it. I can take in a little more. And after that first book or second book, you're going to feel so much more confident. You're not going to need me, but you'll have me here if you need me to do some mentoring. You'll have the relationships you build with the team, and you'll have the opportunity to have those direct relationships. I don't put anything in the way, and I don't mark up any of their services. This is just something I do for my own network and for the success of my authors. So, mistakes, predatory publishers. I did talk about that already, so I won't go back on the soapbox. But I will just say one thing is that the most recent person that I helped get out of a predatory relationship with their publisher had spent $23,000. Came to me saying, can you help me run ads to my book? It's not really selling. I looked at the book and I said, the quality's not really there. We need to redo the cover. We need to relay out some things. Your illustrations are nice, but the other things, I can tell they need some work before. And that's one of the reasons why the book's not selling. And she said, but I had a publishing company do that for me. I spent $23,000. It was awful. The quality was not good. And then there was some of the same, I've seen a couple of other people come out of this same company. They had beautiful illustrations. Everything looked good, but there were a lot of things that got tangled up, even in a good experience, where the publishing company owned their ISBNs. So they're listed as the publisher, even though my author paid $23,000 and paid for all of that, those services. That means the illustrator, the editor, the graphic designer, everything was paid for by them. But this hybrid company, or sometimes you'll hear it talked about like Vanity Press, that company owns the book. They own the publishing rights. You've signed a contract to them. So if you want your book back and you say, you know what, give it back to me, you're not filling out your end of the bargain. You're not marketing your book. You're not advertising it. I can't even get into the account to manage it because they put it into their own Amazon account. They'll tell you, I'm going to get you in distributed. I'm going to handle distribution for you. That doesn't mean anything. I'll do it too. We're going to go on to Ingram Spark. We're going to upload your book. And then you're going to be distributed in Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target, and thousands of other online retailers, because that's just a part of the self-publishing process that we can do as well. You can do yourself. So don't give these guys your money and then all the frustration that goes with it, and let them keep a percentage of your profits as well, and go through all that frustration. In the end, that author had to back out of her deal, and they charged another $5,300 to get her book back. And then, by the way, I had to redo the cover, we had to redo the layout, and now she's moving forward. So terrible. Be careful. Skipping a professional edit. Don't do it. Make sure your editor is somebody that's really well-versed in your genre. If you're a romance editor, don't have a picture book editor doing it. Don't have a professor or somebody you know. We want somebody who is being professionally paid and has a lot of experience and is well-rated for the particular genre that you're in. Okay. Subpar cover and illustrations. If you've got a picture book and you don't have good illustrations, you don't have a great cover, you're in trouble. It's not going to sell. So that's really important. I have some people that will come to me and say, I can't afford the illustrator that, you're recommending, or these guys, but I went on to Fiverr or Freelancer, and I've got this guy that says he'll charge me $10 an illustration. Yep, they're out there. Most of the time they're clip art, or they go and they grab somebody else's images and they pass them off as their own. You may find a diamond in the rough that is a new illustrator that is really talented, but I wouldn't bank on that. That's the exception and not the rule. So the ones that I'll recommend to you will be the ones that are really professional illustrators. There are ways that you can reduce the budget. For example, if you have less characters, a simple book, less characters, less detailed backgrounds, and certain styles are just less work for the illustrator. So I can help you, and we'll talk about how can you get the best bang for your buck. What can you do if you fall in love with artwork that's $100 a page? How can you bring it to your budget of $65 a page? What can you do to talk through that with the illustrator and maybe get some compromises on less detail, maybe reduction of the number of characters or the number of illustrations so that it fits within your budget? Okay. Don't make marketing an afterthought, and don't ignore the business side of things. You need to know how much you're spending, how much profit. And at the very beginning, in week 1, you're going to have my budget spreadsheet. You're going to be going through, we're going to talk about everything that is going to be required for you to spend. And right now, as a new author, you have no idea. You don't know what you don't know. But I'm going to walk through all of that with you. As a matter of fact, just because you're here today, when I reply to this, I'll reply to everybody that registered, and I'm going to give you a copy of my budget template and a video that walks you through what you need, what it's going to cost you to do your picture book. I'm going to also give you a copy of my self-publishing checklist, and that gives you an overall view of what it is that you're going to do step by step through the process. So even if you do nothing more with me, you have a head start so that at least you're equipped with some information, and that will help you move forward. Okay, so how do you know if this course is right for you? You need to have grit. You need to be somebody that's, if you come up with an obstacle or a problem, it's okay. You've got that positive mindset. You're able to push through it. And yes, get help. I'm here to help you. I'm here to mentor you through it. But there are just some kind of people that when they face an obstacle, they give up. And this wouldn't be the right course for you if you don't have that grit. You do have to have a decent amount of time invested. It says here 6 to 10 hours. If we're going to expedite things and you want things to be launched well prior to Christmas, then I would say even try to budget 12 hours a week. Can you do it? Take a look, really give it some thought. And if you say, you know what, I don't have that kind of time to learn right now, maybe I just need to work in a different way. And I do have other options. I have like mentoring options or done for you options, or marshal your script through the whole thing and kind of bring you along with me. That's not what this is, but I can talk to you one-on-one about that. I'll also be replying to each of you and giving you a link where you can set up some time with me, and we'll spend half an hour together. This isn't no charge, just talking about your specific situation and what will work best for you. Okay. You want to have a proven team, illustrator, editor, designer. If you're already an illustrator, then you don't need one, right? But I would evaluate your illustration skills. And what I've done in the past with some authors that come in and they've illustrated their own work, if I don't feel like it rises to the level of of that it needs to be in order to sell well, I usually match that author with a more advanced illustrator to help take their basic drawings and bump up the quality by adding the extra shading and coloring, but it's still that person's artwork. So I will look for ways to help you save money, use the skills that you're good at, and also make sure that you have a fantastic team working through it with you. Okay. I would say get a mentor. If it's not me, that's okay. I have other members of my team that will mentor people. I also, if you've got author friends, sisters, relatives that have been through this already, then you have a great mentor that can kind of also be there to answer questions, give you a little pep talk when you're feeling low, or just help hold you accountable. So that is something that's really helpful. And, you know, you want to be doing this also in order to hold you accountable through the group. And then just committing to that learning and committing to the process, knowing that it's going to be hard, it's going to be time consuming, and it's going to be a sacrifice. But it's kind of like birthing a child. It's not all fun and games. It's up and down. You're going to run into issues because Murphy's Law kicks in from time to time. We'll get you through it. And at the end, when that book baby comes out, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm never doing this again, right? That's what I did with my kids. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm ready for book 2. Once that craziness, because it's fun, it's crazy, you're alive, you're doing things, you're talking to people, you're reaching out, and you are on fire with learning of something new. So it is going to be exciting, it is going to be stressful, but it's a wonderful thing to go through, just like birthing a child. And it's just as labor intensive. They don't call it labor for nothing, right? But it's fun. And a course like this, and if not mine, there are others out there. There are other great mentors out there. If you need to find or a referral from others, I'm happy to provide you with some great names as well that you can check out. So my solution, I'm going to skip through, is 12 weeks. It has some different aspects. I'm going to go to this different slide here. So you're going to get some my courseware. There's an online course that you log into. Every week you'll have assignments, videos. I also have coaching sessions. We're going to meet on Tuesdays for live sessions where we talk through the lessons for the week. Everybody that needs help or wants some Q&A, we go through that. On Thursdays, that's kind of a group coaching extra. And I'll show you the different levels of where you can sign up for the class. I show up on Zoom for 2 hours, and wherever people are getting stuck, they can either come to this session or not. It's optional. You don't have to pay for these extra sessions if you don't feel like you need them, or you can't afford that extra level of, high touch support. But I'm showing up for 2 hours, and if it's, it's time to set up Amazon and upload your book, for example, and you show up at that session, you're having some trouble, then I'm going to say, let's do it together. Like, share your screen, let's walk through it, or let me log in and I'll walk through it and you watch me, and we'll use it as an example so that everybody sees step by step what they need to be doing, or we get you unstuck so that you can keep going. So those kinds of things we do with those mentoring sessions, and they're group sessions. There's also an aspect in the last couple of tiers for one-on-one mentoring, and I'll go through the numbers in a second. There's a private Facebook group only for the people, it's not public, it's only for the people that sign up for this 12-week course. And we have step-by-step walkthroughs, tools, templates. Let me see, my resource library. So here's some of the templates. Here's the budget spreadsheet, my self-publishing checklist. Here's the Gantt chart that shows you every step of like what this is 1 week at a time. So out of 12 weeks, We have planning happening kind of in between everything. We've got marketing happening in between everything. And of course, I'm going to walk you through all of this. There's editing, there's illustrations, there's design, formatting, the publishing aspect. And of course, there's all these different marketing things that are happening. And I've got a few different ways to look at these things. But if you just follow the tasks, if you're just following along, you'll have milestones, activities, and timelines all scheduled out for you. And we'll walk through that together. So these are the different spreadsheets and things that I have in my resource library. Influencer list, more than 700 people of children's books. Influencers are on that list. A list of printers and their contacts. All the things that I showed you at the beginning. And if we come up with an idea, that's a really good idea that I don't have, then I have somebody in my team create it. So, it usually builds every time we go through this when we get some great ideas from others. And this here kind of gives you the guide of the pricing. So the least expensive one is just to sign up for just the course, the self-paced course, get the videos. You'll get the Facebook group and the online course. You'll get a strategy session with me at the beginning. And then the list of all my resources and support through the Facebook group. So it's limited to that. And I put it so that it is something that everybody can afford, the $199. You also have an option for any of these plans from PayPal, where I believe it's 6 months. It's either 4 months or 6 months, no interest if you go through them. So that's an option as well. The second option here is, I called it Better Together, because that's where we add the group sessions. So the Tuesday sessions, you'll have one a week besides everything that we already talked about with the self-paced stuff. And then you also get a bonus on mentoring hours and dollars services from me. And you also get a month of my mastermind group. So when you graduate this group, you'll get a month of membership in the mastermind, where we meet twice a month. We have meetings, we have, some advanced topics, we bring speakers in, and just again, it's a community that continues to learn and grow self-publishing knowledge. And then they also get to help define, where do we go as a mastermind group? Like, hey, I want to know more about this new Amazon ads thing. Can we put a training or a workshop together for that? And so they get all of those activities without having to pay anything extra. And me and my team work to kind of cater to the growth of this work group together. So you'll get a month free for that. The most popular one, where most people have been, is this $849. It actually was $899, and I'm giving a discount of $50 for the early bird access to this. And you're getting all of what we talked about, except you also get that Thursday session. So it's 24 hours of coaching, because it's 2 hours for 12 weeks available for extra group coaching on the Thursday sessions. So that is included here. You get access to the self-publishing resource library. That's all of my tools, templates, everything that I went through, the checklists and all of that. I have invested probably $12,000 in developing that library and all those tools and templates for you. Then you also get coaching included with this is 3 coachings for 30 minutes. You'll still get the initial strategy session with me at the beginning. And then you've got 3 more over the course. So it's like once a month, beginning, middle, and end. You'll have, and if you're also taking advantage of those group sessions, then you're going to be in really good shape. Okay. So it's not a lot, but you also get a 50% discount off of any additional. Oh, time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So It's Tuesday. So Tuesdays from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursdays, I do 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And that's worked for most people. And then the other thing is, with this most popular version, you're going to get 3 months included of the mastermind membership. The membership is going to be $29 a month. It'll be just a monthly membership, but you're going to get 3 months for free to decide if you want to stay and continue with the membership. And if you purchase a year, I usually charge for 10 months. So you get some more free days. So you probably end up with half a year of free mastermind just by going through this and then signing up for an annual membership. I didn't mention here that I give 100% money back guarantee. If you are with me for a month, you go through 4 weeks, you have the strategy session, and for any reason, I won't even ask any questions other than trying to get some feedback on, is it something with the course that is not working well for you? But if you are not happy within the first 30 days, let me know and I will refund your money in full, because I'm that convinced that, and there have been maybe one or two people that have dropped out and needed a refund. One was for personal reasons, and another one she just said it just didn't click for her. The pace was too fast paced. It just wasn't exactly what she needed. And I was happy to offer different options to work with her one-on-one, or just refund her money and point her to another program that was a better fit for her. Okay. So last is the VIP experience. This is the first time I've ever done this in this group. I had a few people that came to me, and, I always say, if you've got custom needs, let me know and we'll put a package together. And this package kept coming up for a few people that I worked with in this last session. We met once a week, so that's 12 hours. One-on-one, me and you would meet. Every week, we'd go through how are things going, moving you forward. And in a couple of cases, they wanted to use that hour a week for me to tell them, how are you doing, April, at trying to push my stuff through? So I can use this VIP experience to allow you to spend less of your time and lean on me more, and also using some of those hours where you would normally be doing group coaching to help you keep moving your project forward, and even kind of work it up to a more done for you approach if you need it. In general, people are doing their own work and they're just checking in with me and getting guidance so that they're not getting stuck. It's a great way to keep the accountability moving. You're also going to get lifetime access to the resource library and the online course instead of just a year. And you're going to get the bonus mentoring. You're going to get 60% off any additional hours that you need or services that I provide. And then the mastermind is a year membership for the mastermind. So you'll get your first year of mastermind membership at no charge. And that value, if I add up all of the values here, is over $5,500. And that price is $14.99. So I'm going to keep this deal and, the VIP experience. I'm only going to do 5, and I've already got 2 people signed up. So I just don't want to overextend myself and not have the time to help people. So I've got 3 slots open for that VIP, and I'm going to just retire that as of Monday. So it'll be live through the weekend, and this discount here on the most popular will go back to $8.99. And some of the bonuses that I'm throwing in and talking about will not be available after this weekend. Gail, I see you. VIP for you it is. That's filling up really fast.
I do have a question.
Of course, go ahead.
Yep. So the book that our daughter has in mind is more for middle schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
Would this work as well? Since I don't think there's any illustrations in that. It's not a picture book.
No, but I have done a lot of middle grade books, and a number of them will still have pictures. They'll have a couple peppered through the chapters. If you look at things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Captain Underpants, right? These are chapter books, or they're middle grade books. And some of them have color images. It's not as common, but a number of them, and one way that you can keep the price low and still provide some visuals for reluctant readers, because that does really help kids engage when they have learning disabilities or they're just having trouble focusing, is get a really good illustrator to do sketches and just stop at the sketch, because you can get that done for $25, $30 instead of 80 or 100. And you can still pepper in some nice sketches. I would just look at your competitors in that same age group and see how many of the ones that are on page 1 on Amazon, when you search, see how many of them have illustrations. If none of them do, you're fine without them. Okay.
Maybe you mentioned, and maybe I just missed it. What is the difference between, the mastermind membership and support, and I think the resource library? What is there a difference between those two? Maybe I missed it.
So the resource library is it's a log. You log in and you've got all the templates and things that I mentioned earlier on with my course. Sorry, give me this. So it has all of these things, spreadsheets, tools, video replays, a big vault of any pre-recorded videos on different topics that you can access through this resource library. If you're working on marketing, for example, it would have your marketing plan template. It would have the timeline and schedule that would help you set that up. It would have a list of keywords and categories that for common genres that you might be able to use for yours and that are the least competitive. So the most likely for you to become a bestseller in those least competitive categories. A list of printer names, people that you can contact, a list of all of my network, my resources like editors, illustrators. So it's like everything I use to facilitate all that we're doing in templates and things so that you can access it. The mastermind, when you think about what we're doing right now, where you guys joined me on Zoom, you're asking questions, we're talking about a specific topic, I'm providing advice, answering your questions. That's what my mastermind meetings are. It's a group of people that have graduated already from my regular course and said, what do we do now, April? Like, how are we going to get together? We grew, we've been together for 12 weeks. I don't want to lose touch with these people. Do you have something else for us? So I put the mastermind together. So we share experiences. I instruct and we learn some advanced topics. We bring in speakers. And so we meet twice a month, and we have if I see that there's a need in my mastermind and that people are really struggling with Amazon ads, for example, I will put a workshop on the calendar and we'll walk through a hands-on workshop together. And I don't charge for any of that at all. It's a result of all of the membership fees that come from the mastermind, which aren't much, but like coming up next month, I have a speaker that I paid normally $450 to get her in, and I got a discount, but I'm paying $250 for her to come in and talk to my mastermind about publicity and marketing and how to launch your book and get the media frenzy going. And so that's going to be a really great hour and a half session with Q&A that the mastermind folks are going to really enjoy. And that's for my mastermind people. So to keep them engaged and learning without having a big frenzy of people. So it's a much smaller community.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Any more questions on this? So I will be sending everybody replays link. Also, some of the links to the bonuses that we talked about today. and information about that writing workshop that's going to go on before mine. It's not going to be expensive, but I'll give you a link to, I think, I'm trying to think if it was like $50 or something like that for a 3-day challenge, where you get a ton of information about the writing and the things you need to do to get your manuscript ready so that you can move forward. And the same woman who's putting that workshop together is also a writing coach, and said she would make herself available to people who are struggling and need a little help to make sure that their manuscript is ready. So got you covered. And I will have the email out with all of those links and some other things that if you're not already a member of my Facebook group, I have a free Facebook group all about self-publishing, and it's called Learn to Self-Publish with April Cox. I will put that in my email with a link. I also have a YouTube channel with about 250 videos on self-publishing, and it's all free. Lots and lots of ways to learn from me without having to pay a whole lot of money as well. So I try to accommodate and really do have the heart of a teacher. I want to be here to be your partner and to help you through it and to get you as self-sufficient as possible so you don't need me. So that's my goal. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Good night, everyone.